Hello everybody and welcome back to Stu's Tech. Today we're going to be talking about the PlayStation reveal because quite frankly I'm super excited about it. I want to learn more about the actual system. I am so tired of hearing about that magical SSD that is supposed to make that system better somehow. And we will be talking about the Series X SSD because it seems like nobody wants to talk about that, as though they have a 7200 RPM hard drive on that sucker. If you like this content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and like always, share with your friends because sharing is caring. Hello everybody, once again to Stu's Tech. So the PlayStation 5 reveal on June 4th is, well, now sometime in June, after the Series X hardware event, and possibly a price. So in good Sony fashion, they will wait it out to try to undercut. Now let's talk about the all crazy fast SSD in the PlayStation that is indeed fast. I am not taking anything away from the actual SSD, so do not think for a second that I am disrespecting the tech. In fact, I wish that the Series X had a SSD that was just as fast. But you see, there is a flaw, and that flaw, according to what I know about the PlayStation 5 and, well, computers in general, is that SSDs don't produce graphics. It is the whole system. But somehow, this has gone into the narrative that the faster the SSD, the better the graphics. What? Not really sure how this narrative has gotten out there, but I just want to put some knowledge in this discussion. It's not true. You can have the fastest of all memory or storage in the world, but it is still your CPU and GPU that do the heavy lifting when it comes to the actual gameplay. Can the SSD help? Sure, for draw distance and help things not pop in when you're playing the game. It helps with load times. It helps with moving through levels quickly, like shown in the Unreal Engine 5 impressive tech demo. But it does not help with AI, and it does not help with lighting. It does not help with particle effects or any of the game mechanics itself. And like I said in my last video, it seems like everybody is holding on to that SSD for dear life. That is the holy grail of the next generation of graphics, but it's not. I'm sorry, boys and girls, Santa Claus is not real. I'm not really sure why I am talking about this. Well, actually I do, and that's why I can't wait until both systems are out. Let's close this out already. Come on 2020, let's get to October, November, or one of those months so we can have a side-to-side comparison. The PS5 versus the Series X. No more speculations, no more SSD, does this, does that. This really is the first time that I have ever heard of anybody, let alone game developers, say that this is going to just revolutionize the gaming industry. That, my friends, is just super irresponsible in my opinion. I know that we keep going to this, but people keep on putting out bad information. Let's get real. Let's get real. Yes, the SSDs on these consoles are light years ahead of anything on the current gen, and the PC high elves are a little jelly, especially with the PS5 SSD, and I think they will be jealous of the Series X SSD too. Both the PS5 and the Series X SSDs are custom state-of-the-art and will debut tech that is not out on the market yet. But what devs are really excited about is that they don't have to deal with those horrible Jaguar CPUs. And I am surprised more people aren't talking about this. Well, I guess I'm not, because remember, Sony is the pretty boy. It's a Tom Brady of the console world. Everybody is cheering it on, and when they had looked at the specs compared to the Series X, they started free falling in disbelief. And what do people do when they free fall? They grab for anything, and the only thing that the PS5 has over the Series X is that old SSD, and all you hear about is SSD, the PS5 SSD. Yeah, we got it. Shoot, I could probably build one with all the coverage that it's gotten. I got it. Yes, it's fast. It has a custom designed I/O unit that takes all of the decompression responsibilities out of the CPU's hands. PS5 will boot in a second. There will be no load times, which I am super happy with because they have been promising that since the 360 and the PS3 era, and it finally looks like they're going to pull it off this time. Ultra high speed streaming, duplicate game data, no long patch installs. They can even stream assets directly into the pipeline as they're needed, aka no pop in stuff like trees and rocks. It does bother me sometimes when that happens. The RAM and the SSD will work together so that the SSD can deliver data right into the RAM. The SSD has a flash controller with 12 channels, 6 of them prioritized for gaming, and so on, and so on, and so on. We know more about the PS5 SSD than we know about the games, the controller, the console. Oh my goodness, when will this stop? But I guess if that's all you have going for you, that's what you're going to show, right? If everything is smaller, slower than your competitor, you have to do what everybody is doing for Sony. Mark Cerny himself took a huge dive into the SSD and the Kraken and their Tempest engine, which to me isn't a big deal. The Tempest engine is how they're going to be doing the sound. The Xbox One X is already doing that, and he was trying to make it like they're the first ones to do it on consoles. This is like when Apple finally decided to make their iPhones bigger and they walked around like, oh look, our iPhones are bigger. Who cares? Enough about the SSD for Sony. Although impressive and faster than the Series X, the Series X's SSD isn't a pushover, and everything that I have been saying about the PS5 SSD is also true for the Series X SSD, except that it will be using different techniques and hardware to do it. I'm not really sure, and I am so disappointed with the Xbox team. Why haven't you talked about the tech in your SSD? But then again, I do give them some credit because people aren't just buying a hard drive or SSD. Maybe that's why. I don't know. They have been talking about the console in its entirety, and I think that this is going to help the Series X make a big splash during its release. But you still have to cover the SSD because the king, the leader of the consoles, the one on the throne right now, the PS5, is doing it. And the only way that you can topple the king is to show the king that you have some firepower as well, especially since the gaming media is pretty much ignoring the Series X. It's almost like they have already written off the Series X. Sorry, Xbox, no love. What about the BC pack? That word there, that secret word, that decompression that Microsoft is using in its SSD that is specifically for games, geared specifically towards GPU textures, that will be pushed to the PC market as well, but will be making a debut on the Series X. But that's all I know about it, unfortunately. This will be in a hardware decompression block that will make games smaller on the SSD, especially since it is only 1 terabyte. Oh my goodness, well, there's an expansion slide on the back, right? You can buy that custom 1 terabyte from Seagate, but it's probably gonna be expensive. I hope that it's not, but I think it's going to be. Remember that 512 gigabyte hard drive for the 360? The first 360 that came out? That sucker was expensive, and I am torn between the Series X solution for more storage and the PS5 solution for more storage. Series X will eat at your wallet, but you know it's going to work. But the PS5 is more of a free bird. I guess we will have to see what happens, and whoever wants to expand their SSD on the PS5 storage will have to wait until all the other companies catch up. So just like the PS5, the Series X has a custom hardware block doing all of the decompression so that the CPU doesn't have to pay attention to it all that much. In fact, with both systems, if they didn't have this extra chip on their motherboard, it would take a lot of the CPU power and we would be back to square one when it comes to the CPU and the consoles. They would be so busy with decompression that we would have lousy frame rates and AI. It also uses zlib, a general purpose data compression library. The SSD, once again, is fast. It's so fast that it uses the BC pack with the sampler feedback streaming to throw out textures that are needed at that time, streamlining the game. So once again, this isn't a slow SSD. It is fast, and just like the PS5, it is talking with the CPU and GPU. But for some reason, everybody is pretending that isn't the case. Once again, I will always give a fair assessment. Stop being a biased gaming media. And just like the PS5, the Velocity architecture is going to allow for bigger environments and worlds. Microsoft also claims that the Series X will be revolutionizing how games can be created. But hey, let's just ignore that. That doesn't count, right? Because it's not the PlayStation 5. What say you? Do you really think that the SSD will change the graphics fidelity in games, or do you agree with me that no more load times, draw distances will be vastly greater, and there will be no popping rocks or grass? Do you think that the PS5 still has the secret sauce brewing and it will destroy the Series X? And do you still believe that it has some type of Zen 3 tech in there? Please post your comments below. If you like this content, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell and share with your friends, and let me know what you want me to cover. What do you want to hear about when it comes to gaming? And like always, live long, play hard, my friends. I'm out.